in short, I got a super creative dude here, Jonathan Kahn, right? Jonathan lives here in Israel with me, also an American. We'll talk maybe a little bit about your background. So we were talking before we got on, like, how did we meet? All right, great. We already got a comment on LinkedIn. We're set. Cool.
Yeah.
But that was a yell it. I know she was looking for it. I wonder if other people see it. Let me know. Let me just share the. Yeah, we're okay. We got 15 people live on LinkedIn. Okay, great. Excellent. Okay, it popped up. We are good. So we're learning together. I wish this feature gets out of beta sometime soon on LinkedIn. All right, let's start. I'll send. Okay, so
Would it not be funny if
we
they
met each
said
other
to
back
you,
in
due to the
Snapchat days.
corona, they're delaying the beta? They're delaying the beta due to the corona,
everything's an
obviously.
excuse because of corona. Right.
Yeah.
By the way, someone actually said yesterday from our team, was it Yitzhak? He's one of our SEO guys. He goes, he was like, "Yo, finally some good news in 2020 with the peace deal with UAE." And I was like, "Oh yeah, we're always looking for the shitty things. We only highlight the bad stuff, which is generally human nature. But there's finally some good news there."
No, there's a lot of
Yael
good
says, "I
stuff
got a
happening during
notification, and
corona.
given that it was so fun last time, I'm back. Good to have you back, Yael. Let's have some fun." All right, so let's start over third time's a charm. So to get into it even better.
Okay.
All right, so Jonathan, you and I knew each other when we were like, what was it, like a dozen active Snapchat users like 6 years ago in Israel?
I think it was like around 20 people, maybe even a little less. And they were actually really good marketers. Like there was Miriam
Yes.
Schwab, do you remember? Like
Miriam
there were like
Schwab
a lot of really
awesome.
good people there.
What's up,
And
Mark?
and yeah, it was really small group, and we all got on there and we were all excited.
Right.
That's also how I met Roy Provarchik actually the first time.
I never met. I don't think I ever met
You
him.
never met Roy?
No, I saw him in. I think I might have seen him. I went up and I said, "Oh, I was like, oh yeah, I know you, and that was it. I think it was at an event.
Okay.
So something like that. But yeah, but that was great. Dude, Miriam was great. Hillel was great, obviously. But actually, Jonathan Karras was my favorite.
Yeah.
This one guy really sucked. What was his name? Jonathan Kahn. He was really annoying. I think he's the
Yeah,
whole reason why
all about
the
his
Snapchat
kids.
community in Israel fell through.
I also heard about like his main audience was like African American women in the U.S. and Orthodox women, which is very surprising actually. Orthodox women, you wouldn't think they would be on Snapchat, but that was his main target audience on Snapchat.
Jonathan Kahn?
Yeah, Jonathan Kahn.
You? I don't know.
Yeah.
Part of me doesn't surprise it. I don't know.
No, you wouldn't.
But nothing surprised me. What I've learned is that
it
you're
was
full of
very weird
surprises
that
and
was
untruths.
It's not like that. Like the idea on Snapchat was like if people found you, people found you, right? Like there was no real directory or anything. So then like for whatever reason, that was my audience. Like I was looking at who was like chatting me back and who was checking out my videos and stuff. And I would just see like I had around like 8,000 people that were like people from like African American women in the US and Orthodox religious women in I guess Israel and around the world, I guess. I don't know exactly where they're from. But I was just like, this is who I'm talking to? I don't know. I guess so.
Right, exactly. Oh, wait, I just want to give some shout outs to Ayelet, Yael Kaner, Moshe, William, and Boaz. We got a bunch of hellos, and Willem is saying shit corona. Boaz is saying Jonathan, you rock. It looks like that.
God damn.
I got a fan. Anyway.
Yes, I know Boaz.
The last 3 people that commented have very difficult names to read at first glance. Anyway, just a side note.
No, it's fine.
I don't know why I feed things like that, by the way. You know what I mean?
What, that they're hard to
probably
read?
Bring us into today's...
I just assume I'm reading it wrong at all times. Like, that's it.
That's fair. Then we don't say it out loud.
Yeah, I'd just be like, dude, like, in the great picture, nice to see you on here. You're like,
sounds like a dream team. Right. Okay. So, okay, anyone watching, if you're active on Snapchat or used to be active on Snapchat, let us know. And if you have any comments in there, I don't think we're going to find anyone.
No, I don't think anyone's on there. No, I don't touch it. Like, no, I only go there for the filters. Like, every once in a while, I'll go check out the filters there and see what's going on. But nothing really new or exciting going on Snapchat right now.
How do you even have time to do that?
What, to check out the filters and stuff?
Yeah, wait, you're saying, if Instagram didn't come out with...
No, so Instagram came out with their new things with this. No, wait, no. If Instagram didn't come out with the stories, I would still be on Snapchat for sure.
Thank you.
For sure. The reason why I wanted to go to Instagram when the stories came out was because I knew those people. I had enough time seeing their images, understanding who they were, and like being able to find other people and see other, like, they all had that side of the platform already. And on Snapchat, it was really, really closed. It was really like if you had a friend, you show him your code, or you made your profile picture on every single thing, your code.
Yeah, I did
It
that.
was like,
I made the
yeah,
top of my YouTube channel, and this is my signature. I almost got like a
yeah,
tattoo. Yeah,
exactly.
I
Almost
got like
your tattoo.
customized and like, yeah, dude.
No, so
You would
I,
think you would think it was probably me when I was like 9. That's something like one of my kids would
yeah,
want to do,
you were
right?
super
Make
excited. You were like,
stickers
I'm
out
gonna
of
put this
it. I did.
everywhere. No, but
All
you
right,
want to
yeah,
hear like actually that's how I found my main following. Like this huge amount of people. Like I started having like people. It was all cool and stuff. And then I found out some guy was working on a directory for Snapchat,
right,
and it was like an app, and he was giving out like codes to specific influencers to get them on the platform first.
right.
And so you could scan, you could go to like you type in comedian, you'd be on the comedian thing. They'd have the top 10 comedians, and you could like scan their codes or whatever, add them.
Hmm.
So I went on this thing. I heard about it because some guy was talking about it. I went on and I tried to figure out what the password would be
Right.
to get in there. And I don't know if you remember. You remember Casey Neistat?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
He's got
Casey
a good
had
YouTube
this
channel.
app. Yeah, yeah. He had an app called Beam,
Is
right?
that what he sold to CNN?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Did
So
that
when he was
flop?
no, I think they just wanted they just wanted, I guess, the publicity of it. I don't really understand. They didn't really do
Reality?
anything with it. Like, I don't understand. Yeah, there's nothing really. It's not like you see reporters now going around putting the phone to their chest and like filming. Like that was the whole concept of Beam, which was that was like you wouldn't have to be like this to film something. You just like press it to you and it start recording, so it has that point of view and it's not ruining your experience of what's in front of you. But anyway, so he was giving out coupon codes all the time. And I thought to myself, like, wait, Casey must have a coupon code that he gives to his friends and family, not one that's like up to 100 people a day or whatever. So I said it must be like something like Casey or something like that. And I found it. I found out it was Casey. It was Casey. So I put in Casey and it worked. I got on the platform. I was super excited. So when I did that, I was like, okay, I can figure out the code for this thing. So I just listened to enough influencers that were invited to it. And I figured out the code was something like Pinky or Pink or something like that,
Uh-huh.
or Pink 2000 something.
That's
So I got
hilarious.
on the platform. I was one of the first people on the platform. So I was like verified on the platform. I was in the top 10 of whatever field that I selected at the time. So I immediately got like 10, like thousands of people like
That's
joining within
hilarious.
the first week. It's
See, that's
amazing.
called hacking. So I've done that
Yeah.
with promo codes for events where it was like 20% off for an event and it was like something 20. And so then I tried like something 100. No, it wasn't free. 95, 90,
There was,
80.
there was,
Yes,
okay.
80%
So
off.
there was a girl. I know you don't like the TikTok, but but there was a girl on TikTok. I saw this like a month ago. She said like whenever you're going to buy and you want to buy discounted, right? Go into the Facebook ads of like the company you want to buy something for a discount and check out the ads that they're running because they're running
Right.
ads with discount codes all around the world. So
That's
then
a
you
good
just
point.
steal the discount code you want and get the discount you want from like some
Ah.
other country. I
Yeah,
thought that
those
was genius.
websites, by the way, that aggregate promo codes, they're shit. I tried them. They don't work. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, of course. I think I have a plugin on my
Was that Honey? What's it
Chrome.
called? Honey?
Yeah, yeah, honey.
Yeah, I heard of it. It's all the time
Honey
on
is
podcasts.
nice. It's okay. It like pops up and it says to me, "Hey, you're getting the best price for this." I'm like, "Oh well, thanks a lot, honey. You didn't do anything for me." But like, but it works
Such a
sometimes.
good name, right? That's such a great
Yeah,
name. Yo, I
he's
want to address some
honey.
comments here. Yael Keener said she met Tova in Israel on Snapchat. Remember her? She was great. Also, Avi, who's in Judea. I
That's
don't remember the
true.
last name.
Tova. Whatever happened to Tova?
I don't
She
know.
was
She got
great.
remarried, so we don't hear from her anymore. It's probably just me.
Maybe.
Visam, he's in our SEO team. Visam says he was active on Snapchat but got confused with it like a boomer. But it's okay. I
Ah,
have Facebook and Instagram. There you go.
that's that's funny.
He's funny.
No, but
He's a
that
good
was
guy.
also. By the way, when I met Roy Pavarchik, I was like, "Hey, here's like 5 tips you didn't know about your Snapchat." Like, and he was like, "Holy shit, how did you know all this stuff?" I'm like, "Because I just played with the platform. Like, I was like
Right.
finding all the hacks and everything I could do. That was the fun part of it.
Right,
Now it's
that
like
was
I don't
fun.
have
That
the time
was
for this.
fun. It was also fun because it was okay. So what was also fun? It was new, and you got this first mover advantage of very few people. And in Israel, where everyone's so tight knit, you really got to know people and see inside their lives very closely that
Yeah,
no one else would have the opportunity to. You know what I mean? Because you had to be on the platform. It's not like Instagram where everyone was there. What's the up and coming platform now? Yael says she's. I mean, depends for what.
you
You know
can't.
what I'm going to say is don't touch TikTok. But
Yeah.
Instagram Reels,
Wait, but
Instagram
wait? Did you check the
knocked off
what is it called? Thrill?
Instagram, just like Instagram stole everything from Snapchat. You know, we eventually got to. Well, I
Did you
can't see
check
it.
them out?
Triller?
The Triller, yeah.
No, what is it?
Triller is like one of the new like alternative TikToks.
Good, awesome. There you go.
Like
Or
we'll see where it
Reels is
goes.
now on
Yeah.
Instagram, and they hit it in the app, which I think was good. How they kind of hit it to make it a little different, so you can take a look. I mean, if this is what you're looking for, but it seems like Instagram is really the way to go. Even though it's not my favorite platform, but it's the way to go. I yell at she does our cybersecurity influencer platform. Says her mom got on Snapchat, just get a giggle with her filters. Yeah, my daughter loved the filters. By the way, she's like, Abba, can we swap faces? Can we stop faces? Yael still wearing her American swag. Daniel Friedrich says, interested to work with you. Check my. No, Daniel, send me a message if you want to work together. Okay, Yael says you haven't heard from Tova because she's pregnant and is on bed rest. Okay.
Oh God. But it's good to know someone knows what happened to her.
She's gonna come
I'm
after
very
you,
happy
Yael.
to find out.
I should read that
How
to myself
long?
first. What? I don't
How
know.
long?
Right, I haven't seen her in like 2 years, right?
I haven't seen her in years. Actually, she's been
But that's
pregnant for
because of
years in bed
Snapchat. But I'm
rest.
not on Instagram. She's probably on Instagram.
All
She was
right.
very good. She was very good.
Yeah, she was great.
All right. Isaac says, why do you think Snapchat didn't work in Israel? He's also on our SEO team. Didn't work in Israel as it did in other countries. That's an interesting question.
I think it just takes a little bit longer for Israelis to like to adapt to the platform. They wait
Probably.
to see
Well,
that
let's put
everyone
this.
else kind of gets
How
into
many
it.
How many Israelis were on Snapchat? You said there was Roy, like Israelis, not Anglos that made Aliyah. Not like you and I were Israeli citizens, but we're actually American.
No, I just don't. Again, mostly I was looking at marketers. Like I wasn't really looking. It's not. Again, you had to discover these people. So like, how would you
That's
discover?
true. They made discovering hard, which is what made it really cool. But then what made it really easy for Instagram just knocked them off.
Yeah, just knock them right off the map.
It's so frustrating. Whatever. All right.
No, but you know what? We understand now that they should have like rolled that in at that point. They should have had like the discovery process become easier at a certain point.
Well,
you know,
David makes a good comment, which is relevant. David, right? It had streaks, like gamifies, like finding people. Here's my code. There's a gamification in growing. So I don't know if you remember. I want to do this for LinkedIn, by the way, when LinkedIn stories come out. Maybe you could be the first one to do it with me. What was it? Was it called Snapchat takeovers? What was it? Where you'd like log in from
when
each
you
other's.
switch over.
Yeah, well, there's a word for it. Was it takeover?
Yeah, something like that.
Snapchat takeover? I think there's a different word for it. Anyway, so what we used to do was, I'm no longer on Snapchat. I mean, I have an account, but I don't post anymore, and I don't consume content on Snapchat either. But what you would do is like I would log in from your Snapchat, you would log in from my Snapchat, and you would just make like this you'd make snaps, and you would be like, and there you can cross each other, and then you would like take a picture of your icon for people then to follow you if they want to. I thought this was an awesome hack, and that was like really unique that you couldn't do with like Instagram and other things because you know it's just totally different. But yeah, that's a good point.
Again,
Joseph,
one of the coolest.
my editor just jumped on and wrote LOL. Maybe it's playing catch up.
One of the coolest things I remember from Snapchat, and this is like a side note at this point, but like one of the coolest things that I actually got to witness as Snapchat was opening was Bobby 100. Have you ever heard of Bobby 100?
No.
So there's a clothing line in like LA that's called the Hundreds, and Bobby 100 is like this. He's the owner, the head of the company, and he's like really cool, really artistic. He goes around and he sees all these amazing inspiration, like from architecture to all these different things, and you just like watch it and you're like, wow, this is so incredible, it looks so cool. And then one day he did a Snapchat like of him going into the conference room, and he said to guys, Snapchat is where we need to be right now. And he turns around and says, every one of you here are going to take my phone, like you're going to take the Snapchat account of the 100, and you're going to host the day. Do your job, do whatever, figure out, make some content. It was super cool. And two of the guys there had Wednesday, and they were amazing. They made their own channel later, just them just doing their shit. It was so good.
That's cool. So our entire team is actually admins of our LinkedIn page. So if anyone ever wants to share anything from Wadi Digital's LinkedIn page, they can. And if they have any posts and they want to share their private posts on Wadi Digital's page, they can. But once Stories comes out in Israel, by the way, it is out, LinkedIn Stories, but it's only in Brazil. It rolled out in UAE. It rolled out the Netherlands and Australia. And then it's going to expand to other countries. America pretty last, I think. They might have slowed down the expansion, but once Israel comes, you can, by the way, change your country location and
so I was gonna say, can I VPN this?
It doesn't matter. But if your followers aren't there, they're not going to see your stories. So you have to be in that country, and your followers have to be in that country. If not, they won't see the stories. So
but that's fine. But what if I do the stories and I start trying to get like a new market? That's a great opportunity to get to a new market,
right?
Especially with a new product and no one's there.
They're markets that aren't connected. They're like 4 markets that speak different languages and are radically far in.
Yeah, well, look at. I think you made a post about this. I think someone actually sent me this post about how, like, now we're going to possibly start going to Dubai, business opportunities.
Yeah, I posted about that this morning.
Yeah, no, so I know you did the post. I didn't even get to see it on the platform. Someone already took a screenshot, sent it to me. Said like,
wait, someone's taking screenshots of my post and sending me? It was like 3 hours ago.
Yeah. I don't know. Someone took a picture and said, like, you got to start planning out your Dubai business. I'm like, what?
Right. I'm either trying to bring someone on to a call from from Dubai.
Yeah, but
Like
apparently
outweighed
they're like approaching tons of Israeli companies now because they're like they've been wanting to do this because they saw there's like a lot of startups and opportunity here,
and they
and
got
they just never had
they
it.
got
Yeah, they got a lot of that.
they got a lot of that. I think they have the highest GDP per capita.
What?
I think they have the highest GDP per capita. No, that's Luxembourg. I think after Luxembourg. I don't know. Let's Google it. Who has the highest GDP per capita? Okay. We got a comment from Omri, and then let's actually talk about what we wanted to talk about. Yo, how many
Yeah, we should
hours
talk
do you
about it.
spend on Instagram a day? I spend about 10 minutes. There's a couple of memes accounts I'd like to look at, and that's basically it.
No, but you can't bullshit. Wait, you have an iPhone, right?
No, I have an Android. I have the Pixel 4.
Oh, God. I won't judge you.
I don't care.
Screen
You can judge me.
screen time.
And by the
No,
way, you're
because this is
clearly judging me.
I'm seriously judging. No, but that's not the thing. There's
Oh, it's confusing UAE with Qatar. Yeah, Qatar's got a $70,000 GDP per capita. Luxembourg's up there with 113.
So apparently, blah, 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 I've been using an hour and a half on average in the last week on Instagram.
So
Like
you
you
know
can
where I've
see
been
it on
spending a lot more time?
your time thing. Like you can see
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
where
yeah. Yeah, I don't know how to find that. But I've been spending actually a lot of time the last several weeks on Twitter. Not really posting.
I spend a ton of time on LinkedIn. It's like I really like to consume the content now. It's really fun.
Really?
Like there's tons of stuff that I like reading there and finding out there, and I get most of my news from LinkedIn at this point. Like I
That's
don't
cool.
even look at the Facebook anymore for my stuff. Like I'm just hearing
Oh
what's
yeah,
going on from there.
Facebook's boring. All right, let's talk about the topic of
Okay,
today's show.
so
Creativity. All right, so for those that don't know, Jonathan Kahn is a screwed up figure, as his father exemplified on LinkedIn. I'm just trying to cause problems here, if that's okay.
no, it's cool. I think I think the comment was meant to do that. Yeah. So okay, so I'll tell you guys generally who I am, what I do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. David really wants to know my
Okay.
screen time. I'm going to try to find out how to pull this up.
Don't lie. I like how I wrote "don't lie."
Yeah,
He
I know. I
knows.
love that. Oh, there was
He knows.
a Joe Rogan had an interview with Ari Shafir and a few like his comedian friends, and he made people pull up how many hours they spend on their phone a day, just as a test kind of thing, and it was insane. No, I don't. I'm on my desktop all day, so actually I spend very
No,
little time on my
at this
phone.
point, there's a lot of it's a lot of split for me. But I'll be on the
Right,
phone a
not even
lot. Like
split.
I'll
I mean,
notice
it's
I'm
got
on there for hours.
90%. I know I checked total time on mobile because I talked about it with my wife several months ago, and mine was an hour and 10 minutes a day, which is nothing. Right? That's nothing.
Yeah.
Hers was
Yeah.
really. I'm not even going to say it out loud.
No, my wife actually started capping her social media stuff on the phone. Like she gives it gives a half an hour per day.
I can't check. I have to go into settings and shut it off. I can't go on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook on my mobile during the day. But I count on desktop. Show us Instagram activity tab. All right, I'm going to try to find out how to do that. Okay, so let's talk about. So we wanted to talk about creativity. We talked about like what topic.
Okay, so first off, I think I should start by saying what I do and like so you understand if you don't know me like who am I to even talk about creativity, right?
You're right.
So
Fuck out of here. What are you doing here?
yeah, what is this? A tree? What is this?
This creative plant behind me.
He has a plant in his freaking computer. Anyways, okay, so here's what you need to know about me. So I've been working in marketing for over 12 years, and I've been working in companies that are like big companies, small companies, startups, and all kinds of things like that. But whenever I went to work at a company, they've always made up a position for me. And the position was like in some sort of innovation thing or some sort of weird title that no one understood the meaning for. I think the last big one that I did was I worked at Wix, and they made up a title for me, which was marketing hacker. And I was like,
about you if they're making up titles.
Yeah. So then
is it like we really want you, or is it like, we feel bad for this guy? Let's just give him a job.
No, I'm cool with either one at that point. Like I just moved at the time when I got the job from Wix. Like I think that mostly they were just like with Wix they went, we really want you, but it was also really funny because like I asked them for the definition of my job, and they were like, we know what we're doing with you, and I was like, do you? And actually they came up like I think it was like a week later after I got hired. They were like, okay, here's what we're doing with you, and I'm like, okay. So it said, so if we want to make a YouTube channel, we'll Google it, like any other person on the planet, like how to open a YouTube channel. And then and then we'll have a team work on it. They'll go do it, right? And if they need to come up with some ideas of what to do there, they'll start coming up with ideas on their own. They'll be like, we'll do some research, we'll find some ideas, we'll come up with some ideas, some creative things, we'll do it. And then they said, when that doesn't work, or if that doesn't work, then we bring you into it.
Right.
So I was like, okay, cool. That sounds like a cool position. But mostly what that meant was, and this is really funny because some companies understood this and some companies really didn't, that I worked with, which was that I basically spent, I would say 80% of my time just doing whatever the fuck I wanted. Like just walking around, speaking to different departments, having fun, looking at things, reading things, watching a video or a commercial that I thought was interesting, whatever the hell I wanted. And then someone would turn around and be like, okay, Jonathan, we need you. And they put me into a room and then I would be ready and fresh with like a million ideas of what they should be doing. I was very lucky. I had two stories that basically explain how that works. Like the CMO of Wix walks into the room one day and says to me, Jonathan, we're making a Super Bowl ad. And I was like, oh my God, do you want me to like give you ideas? Or he's like, no, we did the ad. We paid someone so much money in the USA to come up with an ad. We don't need you for that. So I was like, okay, then what do you want from me? So he's like, well, we have no idea what we're going to do on social with this. Like, we've never done a social campaign for a Super
We
Bowl
just
ad.
wanted you to know that we had no interest in asking
We had
for your
no,
input.
yeah, we do not need you in any
We
way.
want you to know we totally passed
We
over you and remind you we hired you for no
We're
reason.
like,
This is
we were
just a
like,
reminder.
this guy
Can you
to
take out
get
the
us
trash?
coffee. You can go get us coffee. Anyway, so then he says to me, like, we have no idea what to do on social. Can you take about a week, come up with a whole bunch of ideas, put them in a presentation, present them to us? So I was like, okay. So 3 hours later, I knock on his door. I go, listen, I got 105 slides, each one with a different idea of things we can do with the materials we have from the ad. Do you want me to continue? He said, fuck no. Present it now. So I was like, please, I don't want you coming with a million ideas. So then I came in, I presented the ideas. About 70% of the ideas were taken and used for the first Super Bowl campaign. I was put on the war team, which was literally the heads of every department in the marketing. And they would say, how are we going to get Israelis to vote for our ad as the ad blitz for the Super Bowl? And then it would look at me and I'd give an idea and I'd say what I think it needs to be and how it needs to look. And people go and do it. It was fucking incredible.
And wait, and what happened? Did you guys, how did
again, I think in the end they had, I think they won an award for the most successful social media like campaigns during that Super Bowl that year. And generally all the people just executed everything as incredibly like amazing as possible.
Like again, they created like, I think there's a lot more company pride here than other places in the world.
I don't know.
Someone was telling me, I read this article a couple months ago, not a couple months ago, it was like a couple years ago. It was like some really senior executive coming for the first time at Intel, coming to Israel to see like the plan and all that. And he said he was totally shocked how like almost every car in the parking lot had an Intel bumper sticker.
Yeah, but I don't think people like. I don't think they're gonna peel it off though. You know, like I don't think they're knocking it off there.
No, but you put it on your own, and there's a lot more. I think there's a lot more like company pride kind of thing.
No, I think there's a company pride because we're mostly startups, so like everyone feels invested in the companies they go to work in, and then companies.
Intel isn't, but yeah. But I think that.
No, I mean like companies give you shares, they give you options, they give you things, so you're invested in their success.
That's correct. I just feel like we have it more here. David Olin thinks that your job title was Marketing Growth Ninja Warrior. Since you said you go into war, Omri said you're a strategic advisor.
That's right. I don't know. There's like a ton of different things.
Yeah.
Like the biggest problem that I have is that like, and I'll explain this in a second. Anyway, so like, so going back into it, like I also, so I worked in all these companies. I left Wix. There were 1,500 employees. And I have not done any marketing, any website, anything. I don't even really have a great logo yet for my materials.
Let's really talk about how creative you are.
I just get referencing. Like, that's it. No, I'm saying I don't have to. I just get, every person always sends me to another company. And these companies are all the top-notch companies. So I haven't had a need for it yet. Like, I haven't, like recently I was like, I should make a website or something. So I'll pay some person to make me a website. That's not a big deal. But like the biggest issue is exactly what he wrote there, which is that I never want to limit myself to one outcome or one like what do you call it, like product or one thing. You know, like I never want to turn around and say I do funnels really well, even though I do funnels fantastic, and I work with companies and I deal with that when we need to deal with that. But the idea is that when I come into a place, I want to clearly just see the whole picture, see what's going on, ask the right questions. And then I want to apply my services to whatever needs to be handled with a creative solution or a marketing solution. And then if it's something that's really unique, like you need some sort of, again, as I said before, I'm dyslexic. If you need a copywriter, then I will forward you to the best copywriters I know. Like, I won't ask for money. I don't want to make any deals. I don't want anything like that. I just want to give you to the best person I know, because that's not what I deal with. Anyway, so I've been doing this for years. I've been working with companies. I have like the roster of all the logos. I've worked with Facebook, Move It, Mobileye. Again, it can continue and continue and continue. I have all of them.
Well, let's bring it
Altura,
back home, and
Mindface.
let's talk about being
Yeah.
a.
So now let me explain to you like how I get there, right? How do you get to this thing? So in my house, we were raised, like my brother, I was the dyslexic, so I would be the creative one. My brother was freaking genius. So like at 10 years, not at like 8 years old, he read like Machiavelli and The Art of War and stuff like that. And he would come and quote it to my dad, and my dad would be like, "Oh my God, the money this kid's gonna make," right? Like, and I would be like, "Oh my God, the brother that he's gonna have to support." Anyway, so like I'll be the Van Gogh, like cutting my ear off and stuff like that. Like,
mailing it to people.
yeah, he'll be sending me money, like, "Stop sending me your limbs, like just take the money." Like,
hair.
And at one point I started noticing that, like, because I tried to fake it, like no one knew I was dyslexic until I was like 10. Like they just thought I was just being
But
lazy.
you didn't think either. Did you think you were like dumb?
No, I didn't know what it was. I couldn't do it. Like, I don't know.
Like, oh,
I thought,
keep screwing up. Not a big deal.
like when you're a kid, you look up to the people around you.
Tables, right?
Yeah, no, it's exactly. It's like if you're not getting it, you look up to your adult. The adult turns around and goes to you, "You're lazy," or "You're not getting it because it's hard," or "You're not smart," or whatever it is. The answer they give you is what you assume. So they always assumed that like I was lazy or just not interested in trying to read or trying to get the stuff. So it took a long time to figure that out. But just like a blind person gets those extra abilities. I don't know if you watch Daredevil. Daredevil? Yeah, Daredevil.
Yeah.
You see that?
One of the few movies I saw, yeah. But
magical
by the way, I hate to embarrass you and tell you this. You know that movie wasn't real, right?
It is definitely real. It's based on true story, man. It's based on a true story. No, but you get like superpowers. Whenever you have something that you have to continue in society and you just can't make it, then you're gonna have to find some way around it. So the superpowers I got was
you'll make it work, right? Sigmund Freud said, right, if you lose an arm and a leg, you'll just learn to crawl on one arm and one leg.
Yeah.
And he didn't mean that literally. He meant that figuratively. Is that you'll figure other ways to, you know,
because he didn't want to offend those guys who lost an arm and a leg. That was the main thing.
Right, that was it. Right, he didn't want to talk about little dyslexic
like,
Jonathan.
He wants to be PC about it.
Right. You got it.
No, so I
developed Freud PC, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was before he needed to care. So I realized that I have a very, very well developed memory, because I could memorize what kids were reading in class and then act like I was reading it from a book later.
I was just talking about my memory. Crap.
No, no. So my wife hates me when we have an argument. I'm like, "Do you remember 6 years ago you said this?"
Oh my God, you're one of those.
Shit. Like, God damn it, I'm never saying anything again. No, so I have everything all like stored. And so anyway, so I started realizing I have a really, really good memory. And I was raised on marketing. My dad's like a PR person, right? He was like, well, that's what he was then. Now he's like a strategic marketing person or whatever. But like he would ask us questions when we were kids. And I do this to my kids too, where like I'll say, "What do you think? What does this ad make you feel? Or what do you think they're trying to sell you? Or what do you think they're trying to get you to do?" Right? Because I think, and I actually said this to my kids' school. I said to them, they said, like, "Is there anything you as a parent would like to come in and teach the kids?" I was like, "I would like to teach the kids how to recognize marketing and how to be able to understand what's happening online. Because a lot of things feel native and feel natural, but they're not. And I'd like to help the kids already be able to recognize that."
Adults too. I think you need that more for adults too, because adults have a bias that marketing doesn't have an effect on me. I never click on ads. That's my favorite, because everyone they just don't know they're clicking on ads.
So I like how your hands came together when you were saying
it's so funny to me because well, I'm an advertiser, so I know like
I know. I
think you're not clicking on ads, but you're clicking on ads.
Evil. Nice.
I was like, you idiots. They don't know what they don't know, or they.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the thing, and also like when we're talking about like all kinds of like, again, when you're talking to B2B marketing and then people are like, "Oh, I'm struggling with B2B marketing," or people who's like, "Oh, how do I market to developers?" They can smell marketing from a mile away. It's emotion. That's what it is. Marketing is supposed to be emotion. I'm supposed to drive an emotion. I'm supposed to make you take an action that I want you to take. Everyone works the same way. Doesn't matter how smart you are. You make emotionally decisions. You know, like that's how you make your decisions most of the time. It's not logical. It's based on emotion. So like, it's all baloney. Anyways, but I tell my kids this also, and my dad used to raise us on this too. So I recognized marketing. I understood how to get people to do things, and that made sense. And I was super duper curious. And once the internet was invented, immediately I got into pornography. But right after that, I found out that you could search for a million other things.
That's you waited too long for it to load in 1994.
No, but like I remember the day my dad turned around and said, "Hey, check this out!" And there was so many different like things back there. There was a different there were different browsers that we don't use nowadays. There was even like some beta browsers that he gave me that were super cool to use because he was working in a massive company, and he get like access to all this crazy stuff. And but I remember Yahoo. He like sat down and said, "Kids, come here, check this out." And he showed us on the computer. He's like, "This is Yahoo. You can search for anything you want, and you can find stuff." So he's like, "Look," and he wrote "ball," and he searched for image on Yahoo, and then guess what showed up? Regular beach balls. Like it was like pre everything being born. Like it was just like like it was very shocking when I tell people the story. They're like testicles. I'm like, no, balls, basketballs, baseballs. That's what showed up. So so immediately I what?
Nothing.
Everyone says balls. What are you talking about? Anyway, so so when I found out that you could search the internet for whatever you wanted, like it just became like this amazing, like again, after the porn stage, I realized you could search for anything and get like a whole bunch of information, and all that information goes into my head. And then the other side of it is like trying to form opinions, because then, you know, people come up and they ask you things. I never understood how people can read a book and just be like quoting someone else's like statement or whatever. I never read a book and I can never quote something from a book. Like I'm always, I read the book, I get the stuff, I process the information, and I can't even remember if I got it from the book or if I had it to begin with, like at that point, because I've already chewed on it so much that it's become my own intellect, my own opinions, my own intelligence, right? So anyway, so doing all that stuff is great. So now you have this guy, great memory, great, like he has a lot of information. He can store tons of information. He can cross-reference that information and come up with interesting ideas. Cool. Then two other things happened to me in my life. And again, this is like, sounds traumatic, but again, these things have passed for a long time ago. So it's not that it bothers me anymore. So one, I came to Israel. I lost a ton of weight. I was playing soccer and basketball and kaluyad and all these different types of games and whatever. And I was losing tons of weight. And I got second year of me being in Israel, first day of school, send that kid to the hospital. He has diabetes. Right. Eating healthy and everything. Like I just got type 1 diabetes. It was just, you know, in your genetics, it just forms at some point, and that's it. So then the whole rule of like, you take care of yourself and you do everything right and everything will be okay. And you're just like, all of a sudden, like, no, that didn't work. Like I took care of myself. I was doing everything right. And I got diabetes.
Right. Young. It wasn't like you got it when you were 60.
No, I was 12. I was 12, 13. I think 13. I'll go with 13. I think it was 13 when I got it.
The most ironic thing, by the way, I've ever heard health-wise is I know someone's like a super health nut, anti-smoking, and got lung cancer. You know, like the 3% of people that get lung cancer that aren't smokers. And I'm like,
but I never smoked.
Because
like,
you used to be an asshole to smokers, and you got lung cancer.
Yeah, that's what happened there. Don't you wish you smoked a little bit now?
Right, exactly. You missed it now. Tobacco and nicotine is like the best vice, but anyway.
Yeah. One of them. Anyway, so then I started recognizing that the rules don't really click. I also recently did, I know this is like a really big side note, but my grandpa just celebrated his 90th birthday, and I was like doing research on him to make this like video for him. It was really hilarious video, and all about 1930s New York City and this like thing and the Depression and whatever. And I was doing all this research. Yeah, pretty much the same. It was like a copy paste. I just took footage from today.
It's just color. What you did is you took it
black and white.
You just black and white it.
Black and white. It's 1930s Depression. Anyway, so I started to recognize that this is actually a thing in my family, that we all come to this conclusion where rules don't really apply. Like we come to this conclusion. My grandpa, if you look at the way he was like a young man, he just went and bought a car. He went on a date with my grandma. It was like a second date. And he decided he needs a car because she lives in like this area of New York that again was farmland at the time. So he like goes and buys a car. He doesn't even have a license, right? Buys a car, goes inside the car for the driving test, puts some money on the windshield, right? The guy comes in. The guy goes, okay, start driving. He points up at the wheelchair. Don't even look at him. Just points at the wheelchair. The guy pulls it down, takes the money, leaves, gives him the license, right? Just it was like so obvious to him that there's no rules, like nothing really exists. And my dad, like being raised by this guy who also raised by that guy, his thing was we went to Broadway, right? And we were seeing a show. And in the end of the show, my dad's like, I want you to go on stage and meet the actors. And we're like, what? And he walks up, he takes us to the side, and he goes up to some security guard, and he's like, "Hey, you." He goes, "We're going in." The security guard goes, "Well, no, that's not happening, sir. You can't go past this line." And he goes, "No, I want to show my kids the stage. I want to show them, let them meet the actors." And the guy's like, "Where are you from?" So my dad's like, "Israel." And he was like, "Oh, you Israelis, you Israelis, you Israelis." And then my dad's like, "This is going to happen. You're going to let me through." And the guy let us through. Like, I was on a Broadway stage as a kid, standing there with the guy who did the voice for Puma, right, on Lion King. And he was
Right.
showing us tricks and stuff on stage. It was insane. Like, this shit doesn't happen.
Right.
So, like, at some point, I had to switch also, where I started noticing that, like, beyond the diabetes thing, also my mom, again, super healthy, super great person, everything awesome, at age 46 gets dementia and Alzheimer. Like, there's no reason that she should have gotten sick or anything. But this snaps things in your head. Like, these moments, like,
Right.
fracture these things in your head where you say, wait, the rules don't really apply. Everything that we use to feel stable and feel comfortable in our lives doesn't really exist. You know, some people turn around and go, I don't want to be freelance. I want to work in a company for the stability. There's no stability.
Right.
Look at Corona.
Right. Right.
So, like,
Well, it's more
it's all
stability than being.
illusion.
Well, they just don't want to do the hard work of sales
Yeah, but even to
and
be
all
honest,
that.
it's like, it's at one point, it's if you're good at what you do, like, the stuff starts coming to you. Like, I know, of course you have to do stuff, and I do stuff also. You see me, like, I make videos and stuff here and there and whatever. But, like, but yeah, be honest, like, I left Wix and I have never advertised or marketed or anything, and I get work all the time. So, like, if you're doing it right and you know how to be a good person and really help out and whatever, then you get there. But the
Wait. So
stability and the
so
rules
wait
thing.
wait wait. I want to make sure our audience gets this straight. So when something shitty happens or something crazy that goes against everything that you believed happens, then you find out the rules of life don't apply.
So the truth
And
is, you can take whatever you want from it, but all you need to know is that, like, there are no rules to the game, and the rules
thank
that exist have been made by people who are not who are just as smart as you, if not less. Right? There's no,
thank
like,
you.
all the government rules that have made decisions and all these things. They were not made by intellectual
No, they're not.
professors.
Ben Shapiro was listening to the podcast. He once said, he said, Benjamin said he was listening. That it came to a point when he was like 18, 19 or something. I don't remember. And suddenly, he's an adult, and he looked up to these adults. He thought they were smart. He thought they were great. He thought they knew shit. And he became an adult, and he noticed they don't know shit. The
They don't
people
know
running the
anything.
world, the people running the country, running companies, they're idiots. Who are these people?
So, like,
But,
also, I was raised in a house where, like, my dad worked very closely. He's a very big Zionist, and he was, like, very closely with all these politicians and stuff. And then you just saw these people, like, in my house. Like, Bibi Netanyahu was in our house for, like, Sukkot, and, like, all these people were over our house all the time. And you start realizing, like, not like, these are just people. Like, they're
yep,
not superheroes. They're just people.
right.
And once you realize that, and again, I'm gonna apply this to what I do today and, like, how people can apply it also. But, like, understand the realization that I got to from suffering through different things, dyslexia, diabetes, or even my mom with dementia and Alzheimer. All these realizations or realizes you can have. You don't have to suffer through it to be able to realize these things. You just need to understand the perspective that I'm talking about. You need to understand that when I was healthy and I got diabetes, and when my mom was healthy her whole life, took care of herself, and she got Alzheimer, there was no rules. Like, the rules are, you do the healthy thing, you take care of yourself, you'll be fine. And that's not really how it applies, you know? Like,
Right.
you can't turn around and say right now all dentists don't have cavities. They
Right.
all get a cavity. Like, it's maybe one or two you're fine, but, like,
By the
again,
way, by the
there
way, I think it's 95% genetic teeth.
yeah, again,
As someone who
it's
has excellent teeth, and my wife who has terrible teeth, and she like brushes and flosses and does all that stuff, and I'm pretty damn lazy about it, and I got nothing. I got
yeah,
other than these faces. But other than that, I mean, maybe that's
yeah,
why.
I got my space too. But anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, so you start realizing the rules don't really apply, and they're all meant to be, like, bent and shifted, and you can do it to a degree without getting in trouble.
Wait,
And
so
when
okay,
you
that's interesting. I want to talk about getting in trouble in a minute, but
okay,
because I seem to flirt with that line regularly, uh, which is yeah. So okay, so let's give an example. Like, how can people maybe understand? So let's say you're in COVID, right? Uh, COVID happened, you got laid off, or your family got laid off, or your neighbor got laid off. You're like, everything you thought about the world upside down. Or you're a college grad, especially in America. You took off all this debt. You have no job. just even before COVID, because they told you just get a degree and you'll figure it out. That 80% degrees are absolutely worthless and actually counterproductive. They brainwash you into thinking in a way to not find out actually everything is possible, like you and I were discussing. So someone's now internalizing this or is listening to us now and is saying, oh shit, they're right. You know, what you're taught, you know what I mean, about everything, including saving for retirement, everything, like all of those rules, everything's, that's not happening, all right? I'm 35 soon. I'm not getting Social Security when I'm 65. It's not happening. If you think following the rules is not always going to, it's very unlikely to happen. So given that people maybe are starting to wake up that what they thought, right? A lot of my opinions have changed since COVID, for example. And if your opinions haven't changed, then you need to start thinking about things. A lot of my opinions have changed. But like they're saying, okay, what I thought was true is no longer true. The rules that society and culture, right, jams down our throat, they're not true. They're untruths. Maybe not intended to be lying. They have good intentions behind them, but they're not true. So when people notice that, and particularly if they're a victim of it, they were screwed over in a sense, kind of like you were with your health, or some people maybe with their jobs, they're finding out they're in debt and they can't find any work, or with COVID, whatever it is, right? How do you take that and turn it into creativity?
So again, okay. So first of all, the main thing that you need to do is understand that that's the situation, right? Once you could actually understand the perspective that the rules don't really apply, they need to be shifted. You need to like reevaluate them. You need to go through a process where you kind of redefine the rules. And what that means is, for example, one of the best pieces of advice that I give to people, and I actually met. Have you heard of join.co.il?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like a recruitment company or whatever.
I
And
had a yeah.
and I was using them many years ago to try to get a job. I think they actually introduced me to Wix. But when I met with them, like when I did the process with them, they actually sent me off to an interview, and I did this interview, and I did something so unique that the woman, the CMO, I think, or one of the founders
What's her
of,
name?
I can't remember. Oh,
Is
gotta
her name
remember.
Sheer?
Yeah, it might be Sheer. Yeah.
I had her on. She's an apps flyer now, and she's like a
Oh,
co-founder
okay,
of
cool,
GCMO.
cool.
We
So
talk about like men and women in the workforce, and she
she
was a
met
joint
me.
also.
She met
She's
me
a
in
cool lady.
like an event. She met me in an event, and she walked up to me and she goes, "Jonathan Kahn." I'm like,
Like that, love it.
I was
Love
like,
it.
"Do I have a tag on? Like, what the hell?
Right?
Like, how did she know who I am?"
It's like the
And then,
principal calling you out. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
Jonathan Kahn. I was like,
It's like, fuck, what did I
"I
do?
didn't do it. The
It's like,
magazine
did I
wasn't
feel
mine."
anything?
Anyways, so she goes, "Jonathan Kahn," and I'm like, "What?" I go, "Hi, do you know me? Like, what's happening?" And she goes, you don't know me, but I'm one of the founders of Join and blah blah blah." And she starts telling me, and she goes, "Your story is one of the stories that I repeat the most to people," which is very interesting because I wouldn't say that it's easy to find a guy who doesn't have a job title. Like, to help him find a job is not an easy thing. And again, in the end, it usually doesn't come down
Wait,
to
what
their
part of
help.
your story?
I'm going to tell you right now.
Okay.
So I was looking at the concept of how people get jobs. Okay. And how people get jobs is you send in a CV or you use one of these, companies, and they send in your CV, and then you get an interview, and then you keep going from that point on. And you go through the interview
And then you
process.
get
And whatever
rejected,
happens,
and they knew who they were going to hire the whole time.
yeah, again, it could go either way. Either you're hired or they just forget to call you, right? So I decided that I don't believe in that system, and I went to an interview with one of the companies. I checked them out because they made the introduction. It was cool. So I met them. I sat with the company and I said to them, "Listen, guys, I don't want the job if I'm not going to like the place and you guys are not going to like me. I don't want to come here work for 3 months. That's not what I want." So I said,
Right.
"So let's do a trial. I'll give you one day. Call me, tell me what day. We'll schedule a day. I'll come in. I'll work for you for one day. And I'll see how it is to work with you. And you'll see how it is to work with me. And we'll decide if it makes sense." The founder of the company goes, "Wow, that's incredible. I will definitely take you up on that." So cool.
Right.
So I leave the interview. A week goes by. I call up and I go, "Hey, what's up?" They give me some other guy's number, not the founder. I talk to the guy. He goes, "I don't know. I'll check." Nothing happens. 2 weeks go by. Nothing happens. 3 weeks go by. Nothing happens. And I turn around. I get really frustrated with this thing. And I said, "You know what? I'm really pissed off. I'm not calling. I'm not going through the system anymore."
You just showed
So I
up?
said, "No. What?
I thought you just showed up.
It was
It's my
it
day.
was Tu B'Av. It was love, like Valentine's Day, Israeli
Oh,
Valentine's
it's like
Day,
just
Tu
now.
B'Av.
Yeah, in August.
Yeah, and I called There For You, which is a flower delivery company, and I said to them, "Hey, I'd like you to deliver a bouquet of flowers to this company. I need the card to say you never called Jonathan, and I want you to take it." And I said, "I'm not going to pay if you don't do this." I said, I need you to take it to the office manager. This is her name. Then ask her where this guy is, the person who I was in contact with, and then ask him where the founder's desk is, and then put it on the founder's desk. And that's exactly what he did. And 2 hours after that happened, I get a phone call. And they're like, I'm so sorry, Jonathan. There was a huge mix-up. We found out, we thought you were a different Jonathan. We contacted the Jonathan. We said, hey, you're going to come in for the full day. He said, no, why would I ever say that? We thought, oh, Jonathan's nuts. So we decided not to hire you because we thought you were a crazy person, right? And I was like,
it didn't occur to him, maybe it's got the wrong Jonathan.
Yeah, I was like, what? So I said to them, I go, okay, well, this is fine. I said to them, that's fine. Because I don't want to work with a company that makes that kind of mistakes. I said, thank you so much. Good luck. And I left. Half an hour after that, the CEO of the company calls me up, says to me, listen, I just stopped the whole company, made them all get up from their desk, come to the middle of the office. I put the flowers on the table there and I explained to everything what just happened. And I told them, we cannot fuck up like this. I will send you a taxi for anywhere you are in the country. I'll send a taxi, pick you up, bring you to come sit with me.
You know, you should have been like, can you pick me up from a lot in 3 days? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Just go down there.
Story, that'll be great. Like, I'm going to take the vacation. Let's get the ride. Can you also take me there? No,
right, exactly. And bring a tour guide with you.
Yeah. Just guy, tell me what's going on. And then, of course, they offered me a job and everything. And she tells people that story. And she tells people that story because she says, no, she says, I tell people that story because everyone turns around and says, oh, we're going to send in more CV. And then why didn't we get the job yet? Why didn't we get the job yet? The reason you didn't get the job yet is because everyone else is sending their CV. The system of send in your CV, get a job is bullshit. That's not how you get a job. The person who meets that person and says, hi, my name is Jonathan, I'm in a party, and you meet this guy, and he turns around and goes, I'm looking for someone like you, that guy's going to get the job. And he would never give it his CV, right? So I said, whenever you look at the structure of how this thing is built, and you say, wait, what's not working here? Where can I bend it? Where can I change it and make it work better? And make it work better for me or for my company or for whatever you're trying to do. That's the opportunity to bend the rules, break the rules, and do something unique. Right?
So okay, so that's it. You can be creative and okay, but did you bend the rules? Like, yeah, I guess technically.
I bend the rule. Like, I shouldn't have had any opportunity to
send. You just said, screw the rules. I'm going to do what I think.
Yeah, no, but it's bending it in some way. Like, I was able to call him. They gave me a number to call a person to check what's going on. And the normal thing, any normal person would have said, I sent in the CV, I did an interview, I call, they let me know at one point.
Right.
But I was like, this is so stupid.
Right.
Yeah, this is stupid. So I just changed it. And by the way, any person who I've told that piece of advice, that story to, that's how they approach getting a job now. They go in, they meet the person, they get there, they send something weird. And the funny thing is, I sent them flowers because it was Tu B'Av, the Valentine's Day here in Israel. But to be honest, it could be anything. Like, you could literally send in a Rubik's Cube and just be like,
I've read about it. People send in one shoe. Just one half. It's like, let me get the foot in the door with like a sweet letter. And like, I like the opportunity to get my foot in the door or something like that.
Exactly. Some guy at Wix, by the way.
Say it again.
Some guy at Wix down in the parking lot in the main building of Wix took a parking spot there and Chuck drew this beautiful thing asking for an interview. And then everyone in the company contacted HR and said, we need to interview this guy. We need to interview this guy. Now, of course,
hold on. Was it for a creative job? Like, they're an artist?
I have no idea. We have no idea.
Or was it like
no idea.
Or is it like they wanted to work in accounting
and
they're drawing rainbows and unicorns in the parking lot? You know,
it would be fine. You know what? The truth is, it doesn't matter.
You know, either way, it worked. I'm just curious.
Yeah. No, I don't think he got the job. I don't think he was relevant or anything in the end. I didn't really follow up to the highest degree, but I remember asking someone, did this guy get an interview? They said like, yeah, but they made a face of like, less relevant. But at the same time, that's how you get in, right? Another thing, and this is also connected to our title of our thing, is that like crazy shit happens to you every day, and you can bend it and use it, right?
Thank you.
So I don't know. So I was trying to think back which one I could choose to show you this, right? And recently I did the Mindspace ad right before Corona, which kind of like bummed me out a little bit, but I still see it getting posted. Like, people are still resharing this ad, which is really making me happy. It was for International Women's Day. I don't know if you got to see this. International Women's Day. It was we did this video. They called me in and asked me if I could come in and give an idea for a video. That's what they wanted. They just wanted my time for 2 hours to give an idea. And the way that I came up with this idea was based on a crazy thing that happened. My brother, who completely is, feminism, equality, totally down with everything, great. He was sitting with my wife at the table one day, and my wife was talking about her boss. And he was very interested in everything he's listening. And then all of a sudden she goes, yes. And then my boss went on maternity leave. And my brother went, what? Your boss went on maternity leave? And then she goes, my boss is a woman? And he was like, oh my God, sorry. Wow. I don't know why. I was visualizing a man in my head.
Right.
And then when you said maternity leave, I was like, what? So the
Can't men
whole
get
ad
pregnant too, Jonathan?
can't, well, they could also go to maternity leave for like 2 days or something without getting like teased or something. I don't know. No, but like honestly, but it was funny because this thing happened. And when they asked me to help out with this ad, when they said, hey, Jonathan, we just need 2 hours of your time to like get an idea for this. And I was like, okay, cool. Again, it's Ifrat's Figgins, and it was amazing. So I'm not going to say no to her. So when I went in there, I thought to myself, like, that crazy story that happened there could be something that I could do with this here. So I asked them for 5 women to be in the meeting. I sat in the meeting with the 5 different women. 2 of them were people from Amsterdam, just to get like that's why they were going to film it. And I asked them, hey, do you all believe in equal pay and equal rights and all the stuff? They said yes, yes, yes. I said, this is seriously uncomfortable for a man to sit in front of women and try to act like I'm going to come up with an idea that's right for a campaign for women, right? Like a thing. But I said, but I would like to ask you guys a riddle. And then I asked this riddle, which is basically the same thing I did in the ad, but again, I came up with a different one for the ad also. But the riddle was basically to put a person in power that, like, to have I can tell you the riddle. The basic riddle is this: you have a father and son are in a car accident, and they're rushed to the hospital. The son needs to be taken to the OR for operation, and they bring him in real quick. The surgeon walks up, looks down at the young man, and says, "I'm sorry, I can't perform this surgery." The nurse says, "Why?" And the surgeon says, "It's my son." So I asked them this, and I said, "How is that possible?" And everyone's like, "Stepfather, gay father, this is." They came up with a whole bunch of answers that were cute and clever, but the most simple answer was that the surgeon was the mother. We all assumed that the surgeon's a man. So when I asked them this, they all made this face of, "Oh my God, like, how could we mess this up? How did I not get it?" And I go, "That's what I want every person to see the ad to feel."
Right.
I said, "I want to take this concept of this riddle, reform it,
Love it.
and then reuse this as an ad to kind of like make people feel weird that they,
Love it.
automatically added a man in that position." So
Right.
again,
Well, by the
that's
way, there's a
taking us.
psychological thing to it too, by the way, that throws people off in the riddle. Is because you said father and son. If you would have said a brother and sister, let's say got into a
No, of
car
course,
accident,
I need to
because
take
you
out
said
the
the
father.
father they both went to the hospital, and so you're thinking you're thinking the father is a surgeon, doesn't make your mind goes there. But
No, but
but the
I'll
riddle.
tell you that. But I'll tell you, I switched the riddle up. I changed it up,
Okay.
and I just and all you need to do to make that riddle work is you need
But
to take the
no, but
father.
it's true. Most people assume that men are surgeons.
No, yeah, but I'm just saying
Or
the
surgeons are men,
algorithm for
and
that
maybe two.
riddle,
Just
that
thank
one,
you.
the way that it works is you just need to make the algorithm for like working out that riddle and reproducing it is take the father, put him in a situation where he can never be the outcome, right? He can never be the answer. Have the son go up and have the person admit that this is their son. As long as you have those 3 indications in it, then you're good. So I flipped it. I did a CEO. A father drops off his son for an interview. The son goes up to the 63rd floor, gets there. The secretary comes out and says, "The CEO will see you now." He goes into the room, and then the CEO says, like something like, "I can't interview this. I can't interview him. He's my son." And then people like, stepfather, this, and it all worked. Like again, we tried this on several people, and it all went like way. It went like way. It worked fantastically. Like there was like 60 people I tried it on, and it all worked. Anyways, so that was just an example of like taking something very wild that happened, and then flipping it into a creative.
And I'll give a little bit of examples of kind of how I've been able to take things and be creative. So we were. It's like I see things in my personal life where what I do is so kind of like what you were talking about, like you see something that's screwed up and you see that, like, the rules don't actually apply. Okay, people are messaging me that Jonathan is frozen, and oh, he's not frozen. I think it's my computer, and well, he left the stream.
No, I'm back. Did it work?
There you go. I added you back. I don't know. Supposedly it was me, not you.
No, no, I jumped off. I don't know. I refreshed my page and then it just jumped me off. But I assumed that was going to happen. Just wanted to make sure the internet thing was working. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
so supposedly you're totally fine, and I hear you, but it's kind of choppy, so I'm not making out all of the words. But you can continue with your riddle, and I'm gonna try to. I'm actually gonna switch internet, so which will only take me a second, but you can continue in the time being since I'm frozen.
Okay, so again, as I said before, the riddle worked fantastic, and it's just a perfect example of taking something that was like a weird situation or something crazy to happen that I thought I could flip later on. There are many, many, many situations like that that I find that I'm in a place where I hear something and basically bending the rules and allowing yourself to be inspired by the crazy stuff that happens in your day to day life. That's what really makes a difference. Like when you're coming up with creative, that's what's really going to make you unique. Because if everyone's playing by the rules and you're not, then you're the oddball out, and that's what you want. You want to stand out. Yoel is completely frozen right now. If people can hear me, let's all donate money. The lines are open now to get Yoel better internet. Now's your chance, everyone. 1-800 Yoel needs better internet. Call now.
All right, we're
Yoel?
back. Yo, so that was my fault, or my internet at
Don't
least. I don't know what the
don't
hell
worry.
happened.
In the meanwhile, I actually asked people to call 1-800 get Yoel better internet, and we
Oh
started
yeah, we
a
gotta go
yeah.
because I've been trying to do this. I pay for hot and Bezek. I pay for 2 internet providers. I will pay any money to have beautiful internet.
I'm
Anyway,
telling you,
uh,
people are ready.
Yael saying ADD turned you into a superstar. Also, Yael, she also thinks that we've dropped a lot of wisdom. Yael had earlier shared, you got to have some context. We got the one she's saying about the shoe in the office wasn't effective because he didn't send it to the right person. Maybe it's probably a bigger story than I thought. Right, a more
No, but again,
better thing.
I don't even care about the story. Like again, if you need to get to a meeting, you need to find who the right person is to get to the meeting. But like, if you send them something, right, and
Right.
you just need again, what is it that Hillel actually said this to me? Hillel Fold said this to me. He said, the number one thing you want to do is just have them turn around and say, "Tell me more." That's it.
Right.
You just want to have a situation where people say, "Tell me more." Um, and again, that's quite easy. Like it's not that crazy.
Yeah, I want to ask you something
Yeah,
actually.
go.
I wanted things to be. I'm trying to see how we can make this actually more practical for people. So I mean, so they have these screwed up situations that are happening in their lives. COVID is an example. Maybe they have a screwed up childhood. Maybe they have certain things, and they find out that life isn't fair. I've been a victim, or someone close to me has been, and all that. I mean, how do you turn that into creativity? Really? Like, I know I kind of already asked you this, but I think most people that, let's say, aren't naturally creative, they kind of have trouble doing that. Is it just like coming to the is it just noticing and acknowledging that the rules don't matter, that everything I thought about um, the status quo, that's the wrong term, but like, the status quo or the rule, you know what I mean? Like, they actually aren't, they're not legit, right?
I
We
want to
want
explain to
them
you. I
to
want to
be, but
explain to you.
they're not real.
There's two sides to this. So you just said something really interesting. There's a concept of saying that people are creative or not, right? And then there's a concept of can a person who's not creative be creative? Of course, every person can
That's a
be
very good point.
creative, just like every person can be organized. Everyone has a
Right,
small amount of OCD, right? It's the people who have way too
right.
much OCD who need medication, right? So it's like it's the same thing here. So I spend all my day thinking creatively. That's all I do. And sometimes it freaks me out, but my wife is with me for like we've known each other for over 16 years. And all of a sudden, she sees me do something like as simple as my daughter wanted to put a tattoo on her arm, like one of those like press-on sticker tattoos.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
like
yeah,
she
yeah.
put the tattoo on, and I took a piece of paper, like a ticket that we had from a movie, like movie stuff, and I put it here, and I ripped it in two places, and I put it, and it basically held it in a ring. And she looked at me and goes, you really are creative. I'm like, 16 years. It took that to realize I'm creative. Like one little.
Ew.
Okay, but like the main thing is that you're not looking we're not looking for people to change into becoming creative like that. Everyone has their own skills, their own focuses, the own things they love. I love changing and looking at things in different perspectives. That's what I love doing. I love doing it all day long, right? So that I can find unique ways to talk to people or tell someone's story, to look at something, or even like for myself, like what do I believe about dealing with my kids and how do I want to express things to them. I don't want them to have the standard cookie cutter like childhood. I definitely want to turn around to my kid, and if he's like playing with his phone, I talked about this in one of my videos. Like there was a thing that I spoke about boredom, right? My son turned around to me and we had a really deep conversation right after that. He grabbed his phone and I was like, no, don't do that. And he's like, what? Am I punished or something? I'm like, no, you're not. I just
Right.
want you to be bored for a second. And he goes, what do you mean?
Right.
It's like when you're bored, you think things through. You know, like people, you're
Exactly.
just gonna have a
Exactly.
moment to breathe. It's not just
By the
don't
way,
take my
closing your
opinion.
eyes, thinking with your eyes in pitch dark room is a great way. Was it not Einstein, not Carnegie, Edison? I think it was Edison. He used to he would sit at his desk and he had a notepad and a pen, and the lights were off, pitch dark, and you'd had a pull, what's it called, like a pull light, right? Like you would have like on your ceiling fan, but he had it above his desk, and he would just brainstorm and be creative of things of his inventions. As soon as he had an idea, boom, he'd turn on the light, write down his notes, what he thought, turned it back off, and started thinking again. So in the
Yeah,
vacuum, you have creativity. If you're always distracted, if you're always thinking you're always going to go, you don't have that opportunity.
exactly.
So
So a lot of people
forcing
don't
your
have the mindset to do that because they're in the rat race, right? We're all running to make a
right,
buck. We
you're
all have
always
to take
trying
care of
to
our kids. We have a
right,
million different things to
get your
do.
damn kids to bed so you can have a freaking second to yourself, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then you
That's the
collapse
real
on the
rat
couch.
race
No,
of life.
no,
Right.
but I'm saying
Exactly.
like that's the honest to God truth.
It's like
The
too
honest to God
tired to
truth
go to
is
bed.
that yeah, the honest to God truth is that most people are in it, and unless you love doing what I do, you're not considered a creative, right? But everyone has creativity, and I think that no matter what situation
Right.
you're in, you have the opportunity of using creative means to get out of it, right? So,
Right.
or
Well,
creative
that's the
means
only
to
way.
see
It's
it
the
in a
only way to
different
get out of it.
perspective. Exactly. So I'm saying, first of all, realize there's no rules. Like the rules don't really exist. I mean, that you will suffer consequences if you go and murder someone. Like there are certain rules that are there for some reason. But like I'm saying, things can be bent and things can be broken. Obviously, you need to use your own like your own like logic to figure out which one's right. But what I'm trying to say is that if you found yourself in a bad place, right? Then, and this happens to a lot of people when they hit rock bottom. When you're on rock bottom and you decide you're not committing suicide, you all of a sudden realize you need to see things from a different perspective to climb out of that hole, to
Okay,
get
but
out of
most
that
people
place.
aren't hitting rock bottom. I know people
No, no,
that
no, it's
have
fine.
whole family that
So,
have. Uh, Go ahead.
so I can give you
So,
tricks right
but let's say
now.
you hit a short bottom. You got
Yeah,
laid off because of
I'll give you
COVID,
tricks
and
right
there's
now.
no
I'll
work,
give you tricks right now.
right?
No
Or
matter
you
what,
left college and you thought you'd have a job, paying you $60,000, and you're like, shit, I'm in debt. I ain't got nothing, and there's no job, and they sold me some dumbass degree that ends with ISM in it, and I
okay.
can't even go bankrupt on my loans because everything's retarded. And you're figuring this out, and you're 24, right? And
No, no.
you're waiting
So the number
tables, so not anymore because it's over.
again,
So
creativity.
go
One of
ahead.
the definitions of creativity is that it's unique, right? This is something I explained to my I have a friend who said, Jonathan, I love what you do. You're so creative. I want to make this into a machine that everyone can get creative that you do. And I said, that's impossible. Because the moment there's no creative, there are creative ways to tie your shoes, but the way that everyone ties their shoes is not creative, right? So like if everyone ties their shoes the same way, it's not done in
Right.
a
No matter.
creative way. But if I do it
Correct.
in a unique way, then it's considered creative, right? So the main thing that you want to do is you want to get to a unique perspective, right? A unique perspective is a creative perspective. It's the opportunity to do something creative with it. But first, you need to get to a unique perspective. So if you find yourself in any place in life, even if it's a difficult small thing, like you can't get your kids to go to bed on time, right? Which is not the thing that's going to break you, right? Finding another perspective on how to do it is going to help you lead to a creative solution. All right. So, for example, one of the main things you can do, and this is playing in your head, don't jump to applying it right away, is take whatever you're doing and think what would be the opposite of that, right?
I love
So
that.
I yell,
I
like if
love
I'm
that.
telling my kids to go to bed on time and I'm yelling at them and yelling at them and yelling at them and it's not working, let's do the opposite. Let's not tell them. Let's not tell them.
Or the
Let's not
opposite.
yell.
Yeah, you can stay up and burn out, right? Be a little
Yeah,
pissed.
burnout. Exactly.
It's
Find
kind of like
yourself
when
on
you
the
want
floor
your kids to
sleeping.
not smoke, give them a cigarette and let them choke,
Yeah, it
and
was
then
like,
they kind of get it, right?
that's
There's
like
an opposite approach.
yeah. So first of all, you have the opposite approach, right? Which is the first thing you should jump to and say, okay, what is the opposite approach? Then you say, okay, that might be too drastic. So now you start going, I think of it as a circle, right? So you're here and you do the opposite approach. Every point of that thing, like a clock, every single hour between those
Semicircle, yeah.
is a perspective that's closer to the one that you have that you were doing before, but in a different angle, right? So you might take it and say, okay, so I'm now not going to tell him anything, and if he falls asleep on the floor, I'm going to let him sleep there. He'll learn his lesson, and that's the end, right? And then you say, okay, that's a little extreme for me. I can't necessarily let the kids sleep on the floor. Someone's going to call the police, right? That's what my dad usually says to me when I tell him a creative idea of what I think I'm going to do with my kids. And so then you move one angle like a little bit
I
left.
see a
You say,
theme
okay,
here, by the way.
what did I tell my dad this thing? No, my dad's been saying this for years. You know, like I used to look at moms who'd
I
look
didn't
at
mean
their
to
kids and be
interrupt you.
like,
I just
I'm
thought
gonna,
that
yeah, he
was
just like he would
funny.
look. People would look at their kids and be like, I'm gonna eat you up, and I would say it'd be really funny to see if you could take that, how far you could take that. So I'd sit in a crowd of people. I'd be like, I want to eat you up. I want to take your meat. I want to fry it in a little bit of butter, and then I want to put it in a pit. And I'd really go as far as possible and see until people started staring at me. And my dad would be like, "They're gonna take your kid away. You know that, right? They're gonna take your kid away." Anyways, so yeah, again, so the perspective thing also, this works also in life, also with marketing, also with your business, right? There's always taking the
Right.
situation that you're doing right now, if it's not working, thinking, what if I do the opposite? And those are the people that we appreciate the most, by the way. The
Yeah.
companies that we look at
But
and we really appreciate, the ones who did the exact opposite and won it.
but it's more than that too, because I'll give you an example, right? People talk a lot about scale, especially in marketing, and which is great, and we all want to get to scale. But sometimes that's the wrong approach. Sometimes you need that one-on-one, right? Approach. It's speaking to all your customers one by one, or things like that, or all your prospects and getting them on. And that's another way to make like a network of people that would support your business as opposed to trying to get to the scale. So maybe it's the opposite. I actually don't see it as like a semicircle. I see more of actually a shoehorn, a horseshoe, because it kind of comes around. The opposite is actually much closer to what you're trying to go for, but it's separated, right? I kind of see a little bit more like that. We have a couple good comments I want to bring up. Adva from LinkedIn said, "Oh, shoot, back to your riddle." She said, "If it was a father and a daughter, she said it would have been. It might have also more likely to thought it's a woman, but it does make you to think outside the box." We have a really good comment here from Eitan from what you were just saying. Eitan said he had an amazing experience working with his autistic brother. He's obsessed with patterns and gets upset if things don't go a certain way. He might just be human. To break him out of his mental loop, I had him count backwards with me a few times and help him transition out. So sometimes, by the way, that kind of reminds me when people panic. Or my daughter sometimes when she gets like, which is like we just do breathing exercises, kind of like you think like you need to keep up with like this, or like when what is it when you're drowning, like you shouldn't, or like I know there's like actually panic will make you drown kind of thing. You know, there's certain
Pretty
things
much
like
what
when
I say
you're
to my kid when they get lost in the mall. I'm like, if
right,
you're
right,
gonna
don't
panic,
don't
you're just gonna, that's it. Don't
right, or you get
panic.
lost
That's
in the
the number
woods.
one
They
thing.
say stay where you are. If someone knows you went to the woods, they'll send a rescue team. You trying to find your way out is going to get you more lost, and they're not going to find you. But
Yeah.
if you stay put, they'll find you because they'll cover. It's just so right. It's kind of like sometimes just do the opposite, right? And there's a lot of wisdom now. What's the opposite? Don't go to university. I think going to college is a complete scam. You know what I mean? Just don't do it.
No, but you do know
Don't.
that it's somewhere in the middle. It's not saying college is maybe the wrong thing, but you wouldn't turn around and say, like, if I even turn to my kids also, which I don't have any degree at all the things that I do, I mean, I learned graphic design for a while, but it was like an engineering degree and I didn't even finish it. That wasn't the thing. I learned everything I needed to do to be able to become a graphic designer if I wanted to, but it just wasn't the right direction for me. Um, but like that, I would turn around and say, don't do the opposite. Say, I'm not going to go learn anything, right? If college is where you go to learn, but it costs a lot of money and it's saying to you that it's going to give you a job, but that's not the two things that's not real there is it's not going to get you a job and it costs a lot of money, but you still want the education. That's important. Go and educate yourself. Go find places to educate
Right.
yourself. Go and educate yourself from life if you need to. But
Right.
that's the
But
important
people don't
part.
know
But
that.
again,
People are too young. They have no experience. The truth is, you should go to college. You can party. that's
yeah,
that's
yeah, that's true.
other than like
Yeah,
that's the reason. It's a hell of an expensive party, but it's fun as hell.
yeah.
But other than that, right? Really, you'll pick up more skills. You'll learn a lot more, and hang out on YouTube or watch our, consume content from you and I. You'll learn a lot more than
Yeah,
you
but
will. And
also,
besides, what you learn in school is no
again, by
longer
the
relevant.
way,
And people just want to pass so they can get a job. They don't even care to learn. I'm talking from personal experience. I had great grades. I
no,
have
no,
an
I get
MBA.
it.
absolutely fine. It's like this just kind of like, oh well, they just said just get good grades and that, and you got good grades, and then I graduated December 2008, and the financial system collapsed and studied in finance, and Obama just elected says going to radically regulate the banks, and I was like, oh, that was like my fuck up moment. I'm like, oh shit, things aren't turning out as expected. But of course, so I came to Israel, studied a little, went hiking, but then what did I do? I became dumb, and I was like, I'm going to be more prepared out of this recession. I'm going to get my MBA. So I didn't do I started to the opposite, and then I was like, what am I going to do? I eventually got to get my shit together. And a lot of people see it as a way of buying time to kind of still be a child, still party a little bit before you have to go and, go to bed at normal time to wake up and go to work.
I guess that has to do with if your
it.
parents are paying for it or not, right? If you're
I
paying for it, then it's not that much party.
I just finished paying off. But you don't when you're young, not for your MBA, but for your undergrad, you don't understand what that means. You're signing these dumb things when you're 16 and you can't even go bankrupt on them. At least in America. Here, I mean, most degrees are absolutely useless. Go get a job.
No, but my wife has a master's, and I promise you, she didn't need to get it. Like, to be where she is today and to be doing what she does now, she didn't need to do it, and she's doing fantastic.
Right. Just something to know, like, right. So when we went to school, there was no YouTube, there was no Udemy, there wasn't a lot of things. I just like,
No, but you don't even need that. To be honest, you don't even need that. Like, again,
correct.
Just go get a job. Like, go meet people.
Right.
Go do
just
stuff.
Go to McDonald's. just go to McDonald's. Work there a few months and get a managerial position. You learn, and then take that, and then go work. Then you can go from anywhere from there.
No, but you want to know the truth is like whatever money you were about to put into college, you can take that and put it into working for free for a couple of years. Let's be honest.
The world and do freelance work and learn things.
Yeah,
that way.
Listen. Back in the day, my dad realized that I was dyslexic and it was going to be hard for me to get into the job market, and he knew that my brother was going to be fucking awesome. He got into Deloitte. Like he's a past Deloittean. He's a freaking strategist. He's amazing. Everything's great with him, but he wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to get screwed. So what did he do? He took me from around 14 years old, or even earlier. Yeah, around 14. And anything I was interested in, he volunteered me for free to work there. So if I liked computers, I worked in a computer lab for free for a year. And he turned around to them and said, listen, my son likes computers, let him work here for free. I expect a letter of recommendation in the end. Great. I came to the Army when I volunteered to the Army because of diabetes. I came with a booklet filled with letters of recommendation from different companies and different industries. And they were like, what the hell is this? I was like, I had recommendations from camps that I worked in. I worked in computer labs. I taught a course in Access. I don't even know how I use it anymore. Access, Microsoft. I taught I worked as a graphic designer when I was 15 in a studio in Jerusalem. I did all this stuff by the time I got there. They were like, what is this? Like, what are we going to do? What do we do with this? But there, you go and just do stuff. Like, I tell people today, like even my wife's brother turns around to me and he goes, I want to deal with history. I love learning history, and I want to do something that has to do with history. And I was like, wow, I'm so sorry. Right. But at the same time, I was like, all right, fine. What's the jobs that you can get that have to do with history? And he's like, historian. I'm like,
YouTuber.
Yeah.
If you have a good personality, you can teach anything. If you're interesting, you can do anything now. Anything that you used to never make. It's a shame you like philosophy. I mean, I consume so much philosophy because of YouTube now, and you can make a channel, right? I mean, you have modern.
Yeah, but let's remember that he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that. No, but he doesn't have that. Like, he's not. Yeah, but at the same time, what I told him was, I was like, go online, find like historians, connect with them, contact them. And then, of course, the number one rule everyone knows is to play into the ego situation, right? Where you contact someone, you go, hi, I saw what you do. I think it's incredible. I want to do what you do one day. Do you mind if I meet you for coffee and just talk to you and get some advice about how can I start my journey to becoming like you? That person is turning around and going, oh, I'll let him meet me. Like they're all like that. Everyone has that ego thing.
I don't think people. I think you're wrong. I think people do that because successful people really like to help people that want to get ahead and willing to listen to them.
I love helping people.
I don't think it's an ego thing because so many people waste my time, and anyone that's willing to reach out, right, that wants to help themselves, I want to help people, right? It's genuine, and most successful people, I think they feel the same way. They want to say all the great things that I have. I want other people to have them too, right?
So that's half and half. I'll tell you why that's half and half. I'll prove it to you. So one, I'm not saying that that's not true. I love helping people, but at the other half, when someone comes up to me and goes, Jonathan, you're incredible. I heard the podcast you did when you talked about graphic design and the future and what graphic designers should be doing. I thought it was amazing.
It wasn't about taking It wasn't the pot. It wasn't the one about taking like weird experiences and turning it into creativity. Wasn't that one?
No, not yet. That one's that a lot of people are gonna
That
approach
one.
because of that one. But
Yeah,
no,
I'm
but you
sure.
know what my brother said
What
to
I
me,
was
and
trying
like
to
he
do,
was
by the way, I
being
was making an ego play to myself to make a point. But anyway.
nice, nice. No, my brother said this to me a while ago. He knows, like, he was learning psychology in IDC when he was doing his bachelor, and he said, you know, that a lot of the reason that people give charity is not because they want to help people, but because they like to look in the mirror and be like, oh, I'm that guy who gives charity, right?
For
And the
sure,
truth
it's the best.
is that there's yeah,
It's true.
it's a shitty thing because then everyone goes, oh, I
Why
don't
is
want to
that
be that
shitty?
guy, so I don't give charity. But that's
Why?
not
What's wrong
it.
with that?
No, no,
What the hell's wrong
exactly.
with
There's
that?
nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. But I'm just saying that's the ego side. That's the side of it. Like, we're doing it
No,
for
but
two reasons.
ego's not bad, man. Ego gets such a bad rap. Okay, you do something like if you want to love someone, you have to do things for them, and you end up loving them in a sense, right? That's just the way it is. Like if you should feel, we want it to be that we feel good about ourselves when we give. We feel richer when we give to someone else. We have money that we can separate with, and actually we can separate with it, and someone else needs it more, and it's going to have a better, better effect, and we should feel good. If we don't, then we're not going to do it. And even if someone's 100% selfish, altruistic, they just want their name on the building, but they gave money to get that name in the building, and it's saving a lot of children, at a
Yeah.
hospital. What do I care? I think there's nothing wrong. I think
I don't think there's something wrong
ego,
with it.
altruism,
I'm
self-interest.
just saying that
I
there's
personally,
a, but
maybe it's the old school Ayn Rand inside of me, but I think I think doing things in your own, I think feeding into your ego, you can do a lot more good. I know we're
I'm
kind
fine
of
with
off
it. I'm not
topic.
saying that. I'm just saying that. No, I'm just saying that it's very important to recognize that that's something that's happening, right? Like, I think that that's part of the stuff that I love doing, that helps me understand how to market to people and make people take action, is because I make sure that I understand that if I'm asking people to give charity, I'm actually playing into their ego. And then I know that if I'm helping a charitable organization to what's make to raise funds, I want to make sure those egos are being pumped up as much as possible when they're giving us something. So that's how I'm going to make sure they get more charity. You understand? Once I understand that
Mhm.
that's part of the process, then I understand what I need to do to make sure I'm going to get more money from these people. Right? Again,
Well,
that's
from a
just
marketer,
making people take
you're using
action.
ego as a tool. What you're saying, you're taking the
Yeah, of
positive
course. I'm
effects of
saying
ego and
no. I'm
using it.
saying understanding that lets you use it as a tool. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Well, everything's like emotional. I mean, it's the same thing. It's like the story you gave about the dad and the son, and then you said, the surgeon thing. I mean, it's the same. You're knowing how people naturally are wired and think, and
Yeah,
using that
yeah,
to make them
exactly.
think
But you need
differently.
to analyze that
Just being
all the
creative.
time.
Right. 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 Do you think people maybe? Do you think self-reflection and self-deprecation? And by the way, we should talk about comedians because they're really creative,
I
and
love it.
many of them have a fucked up
Love it.
background. Right. So, do you think like self-deprecation and like being able to self-reflection makes you more creative?
Definitely. But it also it's about how far you can go. Like, again, it's what, so a lot of people tell me that I should go up and do comedy because I can sit in front of a crowd full of a whole bunch
Why?
of people I never met
You're not
before, and
funny.
I can kill, I can slay. I am a
I'm sorry.
savage. I don't
I'm
care.
sorry. I'm just not
I know
funny.
you just never.
I'm
I
just,
never. I know it's my humor is
I'm
just
just being
like
actually
no.
kidding.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, but I'm saying, like, really, like, I've been told that a lot, and the reason why I'm capable of doing that is because I do. Let's just put it like this: every therapist I've ever gone to has hated me a little bit, and every couples therapy session I've ever done with my wife when we're like having our kids or whatever, and it's like, oh my god, how are we going to live through this? They also, I think, hate me a little bit because I'm so open. I mean, there's no
Right.
work to be done in the sense of like getting me to open up and express my feelings. I'm open, I express my feelings, I analyze my feelings, I understand what I'm doing, why I'm feeling things, and what's going on. I do so much self-talk and internal, like, processing with myself, that it makes it very easy for them, or it annoys them in some way that I'm already there, and the other people in the other room are like, I'm like, my wife needs to learn how to talk more than me. Anyway, so the same thing happens like with the comedian stuff. When you go through these processes with yourself, when you ask yourself questions after question after question after question, all of a sudden things become really hilarious and they become like abruptly obvious to you. And when you say them out loud, there's a huge shock value with people where they go, "Oh my god, I've been feeling that my whole life, and I never put it into words." And that just ends up making them explode from laughter, right? So yeah, it's definitely, that's the thing. And also, like, it's not just, it's also this. I don't know if this happens to you, but it definitely happens to me with my video content. I record my content. I stand in front of the camera for about 5 minutes. My video is about 2 minutes, right? I'll do it twice or three times because I'll say it one time just to say everything I need to say, and then I'll reframe it and I'll find a more interesting way to twist it or work faster and work better by the second time I say it. So there's a lot of times where I start with the like, I did a thing. Oh, this is really cool. You like this? Ready? A long time ago, my mom, because of the whole dementia and Alzheimer thing, I saw that I had this idea. Like on her birthday, I every year, like you turn around, you think about the fact your mom has this disease, and you're like, oh crap, this kind of sucks, blah blah blah. So I decided to go and approach on Instagram stories to talk about it. So I went on talking about it on Instagram stories, and what I said was like, I said the whole thing first, and I deleted the content, and I said, okay, I know how I'm going to frame this. So instead of saying my mom suffers from dementia and this is what happened, I said to them, guys, do you know how awesome Instagram stories are? Like how much we love sharing content with people and how awesome it is to be able to share small parts of our lives with people. And the coolest thing is it deletes in 24 hours, right?
That's where you're going, yeah.
Imagine that it deleted for 24 hours, but not only from your Instagram, but from your memory. Imagine everything you had was 24 hours before it was gone. Now it's a lot less cool, right? It's a lot more scary. And I said, that's what dementia is. And my mom has been suffering from dementia and Alzheimer's since she was 46. And it's been really horrific. And I think and I said, like, I feel like this should be a campaign. I actually did a video where I said, I tagged Seth Rogen because I know he does like a charity event. He does Hilarity for Charity, which is a whole event all dedicated to getting money for that. I tagged him and I said, I think that we should try to do some sort of a campaign with Instagram where on the official day for Alzheimer, people can donate one of their stories, delete one memory of that day, and switch it with an ad for Alzheimer to donate money. You can swipe up and donate money. I thought that would be a really cool campaign to do. And it was all because of how I framed it and how I did it. Seth Rogen actually heard of this. His group, the people in charge of Hilarity for Charity, and they actually approached an Israeli company that I was involved with, Milabev, which is like one of these organizations for Alzheimer. And they said, we want to meet this guy when we come back to Israel. We want to meet him and see how we might be able to make this campaign happen, which was really cool.
Wait, Seth Rogen came to Israel, really?
No. Seth Rogen didn't come to Israel, but the people from his Hilarity for Charity came.
His comments.
And I was like, come on, let's make this happen. And I don't know, nothing really happened with it in the end, but it was super cool to think that like I framed it in the right way. I put it out there, and all of a sudden these people actually heard of it from the other side of the world. The people in charge of the I don't know what they're doing with it.
The people you apply for an interview, but here, this is like their life mission
statement. I have to send him flowers.
Screw him.
I don't know. But I thought
there's an irony with Hollywood's biggest stoner is working on like
on people forgetting their memories.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's literally the biggest idiot, the biggest stoner in Hollywood.
No, I had a thing where I said like I wouldn't accept any money, but I just want to get high with Seth Rogen. Like that would be really fun. But also I thought to myself, but what if he's a really like a downer? Like he's the kind of guy who talks about depressing shit during it, and then you're just like, oh, this is the worst high I've ever had. That would really bum me out. But still, that would be an amazing story to have, to be like, oh, I spoke to Seth Rogen.
No,
we just cried and hugged for 20 minutes. Like, that's what, that's how it was. Anyways. All right. I don't know if we can keep talking, if people are going to still listen to us or if people have already left.
It's their problem.
How things going? This is our home now.
Yeah, it is. All right, cool. So, so to finally, like, just let's wrap things up. Someone has any questions or comments? Now's the time. To wrap things up, like, so really, what we should be doing is we should be taking at unique situations and kind of thinking of what we can do the opposite, or how we can kind of. Where I think a big important thing is the word framing. I think if you can take a story that you want, but if you frame it from a different perspective, or you swap out different props or characters, I think you can actually kind of get people to see things differently, and it's actually an easy way to be creative. So that's kind of what I've learned. And sometimes just a simple way of framing, I mean, you say, right, you talk to someone's ego, speak from their perspective, not yours. Your example of the manager with it was your brother. He assumed the manager was a man. You know what I mean? and all that when it wasn't a woman. So these are all great. These are all great. These are all great stories. I think they're all great ways that you can be creative. So for those people out there, if you're thinking about if you have any negative experiences or you find yourself kind of like hitting like a little bit of a low or not understanding what's going on, or you feel like you did everything right and things aren't turning out so wrong, things aren't turning out right, like you were told or like you were promised, I think you should go and you should try and take the opposite approach. And if you wanted something, if you want to make something yours, I think you should go and do it, grab it, but don't do it like other people. Break the rules. Do things that people would think you're weird, you're strange, you're crazy. Why would you do that? Who things that are like, why would you put so much effort or so much time, so much thought? Do it that way. I think they'd be really surprised. They'd be surprised with how far they get. Hey,
Yeah.
Todd
Also,
is
just
actually
thinking about
listening
that is what
while
you
it's
just said
working.
right now is
Yeah, right.
basically everyone wants to be unique, but everyone's afraid of being the odd man out. It's like a very
That's so
weird
true.
thing to have. Like you want to be
It's so
unique, you
true.
don't want to be the same as everyone else, but then you're not willing to put on the pink shoes and walk into the room and have everyone go, "Whoa, what the hell happened there?"
Yeah,
Do
I
it.
was the first person to like own Crocs, and they were bright orange. This is like 20 years ago.
So you took the chance. It failed
I didn't
miserably.
think of it as a chance. I was like, this is out there. I think I was on like mushrooms in like Israel or something, and I bought them.
That's
But
funny.
yeah, so it's interesting. So like my wife is extremely creative, very artistic, especially photography areas, but she doesn't like to stick out. She's like she wants to blend. She's scared to put herself out there.
Yeah,
Now I'm the
but
opposite.
that's
I'm
the
like if
thing.
I'm
Don't
not
be
sticking, even if
scared.
but that's human nature. So go against human nature. Like I really don't care what people think or say, and I think that's a lot to do with my success, right? I mean, I'm
Yeah,
extremely
I
authentic.
don't. I think that, but that's actually the thing. So right there, that's for the end of this. I'd like to like address that for a second. So she's feeling afraid of something, right? She's doing great. She's doing creative. She has all that. She has all the tools to be doing fantastic
Right.
stuff, but she's afraid to put herself out there, right?
Mhm.
So the real question is first of all, what is the goal you want to do with this? Do you want to achieve anything with this? Is it just it's just something that makes you feel happy? And if it's something you want to achieve bigger than just you being happy, then you need to start turning around and saying, okay, I need to change my perspective. And maybe in the beginning, it's not, I'm going to go full out and do an exhibition, right? Maybe you're posting your content up anonymously. Maybe you're making a fake name and you make an Instagram account and you start putting your stuff out there and start getting people to attract it. Maybe you're taking a different approach, but something that's a little closer to something you feel comfortable with, right? But slowly but surely, you'll get out of that comfort zone, and then you'll have to be able to do those things that are very wild and very cool, right? And that will be totally breaking it down. I don't think that if you wanted to become a famous photographer right now, I don't think you should try to get into a show. I don't think that's where you need to go. I don't think you need to go to Instagram either. I think
Right.
everyone's on Instagram. So you need to turn around and say, okay, what's the opposite of what I need to be doing? By the
I
way,
mean, just opposite.
just
Just take photos of ridiculous things, and people think that
I
would be.
just I just sent this to someone the other day, a comedian who made his whole career off of making Pornhub. He made an account on Pornhub. That's his comedian stand up thing. I'll show this to you at one point or ruin
He doesn't
your
do porn. He just made a
internet
comedian
browser.
account.
He doesn't.
He made a
He just
comedian
makes
account on
funny
Pornhub.
titles. Yeah, he makes funny titles that sound like they're going to be horrific. You get in there and it's just like he had one. It's called Blacked. Uh, just me with two big black guys hanging out or something like that. And then literally it was just him on the couch with two big black guys on the side of him eating potato chips. That was it. And it was so funny. He's been verified on Pornhub. Like they find him to be hilarious. He's already has a whole career based off of this thing. People love
That's
him and he's
funny.
become really famous because he took it and went very freaking weird with it. He went really off the map.
Hmm.
And that's
Right.
what makes him
Right.
unique.
By the way, everyone does.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone. Right. One more thing is don't stay in your lane. Is one thing like that I've learned. If you think you studied this, you need to do that. I think it's really good to like shift careers
Oh,
or like
definitely.
shift what you're doing like regularly, if you want to stay relevant and all that. I want to end this comment. I think it's really. I think it kind of sums things up. Y'all wrote, "Thank you for your time today. Rules that are man-made can be broken." I'd like to add, rules that are man-made aren't rules. You just think the rules.
Yeah.
I think that's my opinion. Where can people follow you?
LinkedIn. My Instagram is very just like me with my kids and doing weird stuff. You can check that out too. But like generally, my LinkedIn is the main place where you'll see content. I'll be all there all the time. Whoever want to talk, chat up or whatever, happy to. I'm more of a video person. I jump on a call or jump on a video immediately. I'm not going to chat for like 6 years. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can. That's Childish Adulthood. That's my name
I think it kind of sums up our conversation.
Yeah, Childish Adulthood.
Childish,
That's
childish
pretty much it.
adulthood.
I think I did that. My dad was like spot on. Like I was like, thanks, Dad. It's, yeah, but yeah, mostly you again follow me wherever you want. Like again, I have it all. I'm even on TikTok.
Awesome.
No, I'm not anymore.
Even on
like
God.
but yeah,
Awesome.
God forbid. But I mean,
if anyone has any questions, you feel free to reach out to Jonathan, or you can reach out to me or on LinkedIn. And thank you so much, guys, for joining us. And go ahead, break the rules, make up your own rules, do whatever the hell you want, and be creative. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
That's right.